There is an old saying, a new coat of paint can only hide the truth for so long. Because by all metrics, SmackDown vs. Raw was a okay game. There was really nothing wrong with it. But there was something holding it back. 90% of it still felt like Here Comes the Pain. THQ and Yuke's knew it was still living in the shadow of Here Comes the Pain despite the name change. So instead of trying to continue to build upon the arcade system that was perfected in Here Comes the Pain, they decided to take a different direction. Slower, grounded, the most realistic WWE game they can make, not just in presentation this time, but in gameplay. They decided to take some of the elements that was in their GameCube series at the time and finally put it over into the main series. They also created a brand new game mode that is a fan favorite to many people to this day. We're talking about SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, the next installment in the SmackDown vs. Raw series, the final game to be just on Sony systems. We'll talk about that and the moment WWE games started feeling real. Now, for us to begin this story, we're going to actually look at a Q&A that was posted. I hate when IGN changes the date, but we're going to assume this was posted around the fall leading up to SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. Now, we're actually not going to look at the answer that Corey Ledesma, who was pretty much the main person, the creative director in charge of the WWE game series at the time. We're actually going to look at the question. I always thought this question was interesting. Have you ever thought to take a transition away from the standard gameplay that we are accustomed to and start over fresh, or possibly keep some essence from the standard gameplay but expand on it highly to make it seem entirely new? What that person who asked Nintendo Gamer did not realize was the first half of that question that will not be realized until the next game, but the second half of that question is what happened with this game. So before we get to Corey Ledesma's answer, as I said, SmackDown vs. Raw, it was good. There was nothing wrong with it. Good step in the right direction, focusing on the Ruthless Aggression era. The story mode was fine. Voice acting could have been okay. But the problem is, not only was there many minor issues with season mode just in terms of presentation, it was essentially just character swaps, and they did listen for this game, but the gameplay wise, it was no different from Here Comes the Pain, and that was entirely the issue. So to answer his question, going back to Corey Ledesma, he said, "Sure, we are die-hard wrestling fans and gamers here at THQ," which is true. I can believe that the THQ crew, unlike 2K, you can tell they're wrestling fans, as well as Ukes. We talk wrestling all the time. We're always looking for ways to improve the wrestling game genre. Whether we talk about the new game concepts or how to improve our existing games, of course, I don't want to reveal any of our secrets, blah, 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 blah. I also think fans are going to be extremely happy with the direction we took this year with the new momentum system, the new stamina system, and some of the cool features that stem out of those new systems, such as playing possum, stealing taunt, and double knockouts. And that is essentially the core focus of SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. The start of the games feeling very different, no more arcade. This is going to a realistic approach. So we're going to showcase that right now. First things first, as you see in the menu, the whole split SmackDown versus Raw, like either you're picking Raw or you're picking SmackDown, they did away with that immediately after the first game. You know, I personally always like picking the menu. And another note, the pin at random times, every time you boot up the game, you might get the SmackDown intro or you might get the Raw intro. I always thought that was cool. Of course, I can't play it, but just wanted to point that out. So right off the bat, you see something new. Title matches. We'll get to that eventually. Essentially, finally, you can have a title. You can defend it finally outside of season mode. You notice that the World Heavyweight title and the WWE title are locked, as well as the $1 Million title and the Hardcore Championship. These two can be bought in the shop, but these two you have to unlock a very specific way, which we will get into eventually. But right now I just want to go to singles, no manager, just to really showcase the gameplay. And for this, we're just going to pick why not the cover superstars of this game, Batista. And I was gonna pick John Cena, but I need a heel to showcase. We're gonna use Snick's. I can't not pronounce his name. And we're gonna go with SmackDown because there's a lot to go over that's gonna be shown in the next couple minutes. So make sure match rules, everything looks good. Right off the bat, you notice new loading screens. They're going to showcase superstars. And yes, I had to mute the music. But right off the bat, you already noticed.
On the way to the ring, from Washington, D.C., weighing 317 pounds, Batista.
Again, to make the game as realistic as possible, for the first time in the series, there's finally full entrances. Before, they'll cut to certain parts, like once the superstar does like his signature pose, they'll cut to the ring or whatnot. But for the first time, from beginning to end, you have the full entrance, which I always thought was cool for seeing this. Batista with the world title. He's the world champion, even though you can't defend it at all at the moment. So he's going to be champion unless you unlock it. And you can see the models have once again been updated. It's like, I got to give them credit. Every year they continue to update the models. The lighting is different. And you notice the speed of the entrance. They slowed it down. It's not, I don't believe the actual entrances were 60 frames in SmackDown vs. Raw, or they might have been. But as you can see, they completely slowed it down, the entrance. They're trying to have a more of a cinematic presentation to it. So they completely slowed it down, which makes sense, to be fair. And we'll just briefly see his. It wasn't his fault, by the way.
From Nescahoning, Pennsylvania, weighing 300 pounds, Gene Snitsky.
There's even people at the bottom of the card that everyone has their entrances from the beginning of the entrance ramp all the way to the end. So the funny part about that, I always found amusing how it took him this long in the main series to do it. Keep in mind, on Xbox, they had Raw from 2002, and you can have your full entrance from the beginning of the ramp to the end, and the same thing on the GameCube games. How? Well, to be fair, it started with WrestleMania 19, but that was still 2 years, at this point, 3 years earlier than this game. So it's crazy why it took so long, but it just goes to show what they were focused on for the SmackDown series instead of the Xbox games and the GameCube games. So they're showing double knockout. The mini games are still intact. And this would also be the very last time until the current game, 2K26, that would have these types of video games. 2K15 will introduce something entirely new, but in terms of these types of mini games, this is essentially the last time until 2K26. So off the bat, you see there's a new HUD, and I guess for you to fully understand what's happening, I should show you controls. I just want to make sure I have Batista. So to quickly pause for a second, the controls are vastly different, even though they didn't show it. So triangles to run, but also now triangle and circle is to Irish whip the opponent and then do a strong Irish whip. I know it's crazy. And then they changed a little bit more stuff, but we're gonna get to that. So right off the bat, it's completely different from Here Comes the Pain. Before it was just tapping circle. When I got pressed 2 buttons, just do an Irish whip. And you saw Snitsky what he did right there. The new stamina system, which was introduced in Day of Reckoning 2, which is funny because it came out. I don't know which one came out first, 06 or Day of Reckoning 2, but it introduced it. This submission bar was in SmackDown versus Raw, but we just never had a submission that had it. And you notice now also, if you see under Batista or Snitsky, it gives you it tells you when to reverse and which button, just to make things more helpful. It was the first time I actually had help when to reverse. The clean and dirty is still tied to the superstar. They just don't show the HUD anymore. It's tied to the momentum bar. So same rules apply. I get momentum based on what I do. So doing a dive, doing the signatures, that still applies. And you can see I'm tired. And depending on your level of stamina, he's going to be walking different, acting different. So basically now, since it's tied, so that's the thing. Now that it's tied to the momentum bar, it's going to affect how you get. You got to really decide you're going to play to get your finisher up, since it's not tied to a separate bar anymore. Now if you're going to play as a face, you have to do face things to get a finisher, essentially. So the game, to make it realistic as possible, if you're a good guy, you better play the match like a good guy. So if I do one of my signatures, if Snitsky would let me, the bar is going to go up a lot quicker. See? And do stuff like dive attacks, even though Batista never dived a day in his life. I don't think he has. Batista ever? And you see how fast I got it? And now you can store. You can only store, so you can technically, in this game, you can't have 3 finishers anymore. You can technically have 2. I say technically because you can store 1 and you can have the other one, but the other one is for a very limited amount of time. So you only have a window, a small window of doing it. Now you see I'm completely tired, and now that's unfortunately going to stop, and now I can't reverse anything. Oh, actually, yes I can. I lied. I was able to reverse that since I had some type of stamina. I just thought I didn't have any. And I believe you can steal your opponent's finisher if I hold L2 and L1, but I think I have to have it for the timed one instead of the stored one. I can look that up, but still row break. Let's see. What do I get? Yeah, in order to pull momentum bar, you're going to need to fight fair. Yes, I get that. Perform signatures. 30. Oh, it doesn't tell me. I swear for this time around, yeah, you get, instead of like basically you're immune to all attacks or whatnot, what actually happens is you steal your opponent's finisher if you're a good guy. Another thing you notice, how big, I never pointed this out in the other one, but the arena has gotten huge. they really gave you a lot more space. Although it was kind of like this in SmackDown versus Raw, it was like, compare like the amount of space they gave you is absolutely crazy for outside fighting. they still haven't properly. I think I'm trying to remember which game. I think it's not until 08 or 09 where they properly have the right size of the actual ring to the barricade. But don't quote me on that. So, and you saw I just got a challenge cleared. I didn't talk about the challenges in the previous game, even though they started in that game. But we are going to talk about it in this one. It's not that I forgot. I just knew that wasn't the focus of that for yesterday's stream. I was going to focus it on this one instead. I thought these were just a tad bit more interesting than the first one, but the challenge stuff started in SmackDown versus Raw. And you can actually hear the crowd there actually chanting Snitsky. Like, they really, this time around, they made sure, like, the crowd, again, for be more realistic, they have certain taunts for certain people. And you see they brought back that. The spinning. Unfortunately, it's going to be a road break, but it is what it is. Unfortunately. You know what's crazy? The difficulty is only on normal. Just to tell you guys, it's literally only on normal. He's giving me a fight. I'll give him that. And yes, you could cut off the stamina, but that's not what makes it. But otherwise, essentially reverse back to SmackDown versus Raw. So if you want a realistic experience that they were trying to give you, I would keep it on. It's not that bad compared to Day Reckoning 2. I feel like Day Reckoning 2 was horrible. I didn't enjoy it as much as a kid for Day Reckoning 2, but I feel like I understood it, what they were going for. I just didn't personally like in Day Reckoning 2. For some reason, I had no problem with the 06 one. How is Robert? I can't. Are his legs that long? But the smartest thing to get your stamina back is either you get out the ring or throw your opponent out. But one, like I said, you got to use triangle and circle. There we go. Now this time, it should not be a problem.
1, 2, 3.
There we go. And you see, I cleared 3 challenges. We're gonna get to the challenges here because they're actually we're gonna get to them. Trust me. And you actually earn cash with matches and outside of season mode. We'll get to.
Here's your winner, Batista.
And as you can see, Batista, even though it's very weird how Batista has a heel. It's very weird. Batista has a heel winning animation. I never understood that. So now I just want to showcase the dirty side. Yes, you had to essentially save every single time. And these are the games. This in 07 basically made you save at all points. And there's also a new match type. We might get the season mode, but I want to focus on GM mode since that's obviously arguably the main selling point of this game. Reason why people to play this one, because this was the start of GM mode. Just want to showcase a example of a dirty superstar and just one entrance, and we'll showcase the roster eventually as well. Let's see, Carlito, who made his debut. in this game. And he could take on Eddie Guerrero, who is also dirty. Why not? And I mentioned yesterday as well, this was the first game where they actually started mo-capping the entrance, not just the entrances, but some of the cutscenes for the most, I think mostly all the cutscenes in season mode.
From the Caribbean, weighing 230 pounds, Carlito.
That's why it feels like they're not like made on a computer. They don't feel stiff. Which is probably part of the reason why they were able, now that I think about it in hindsight, that's probably part of the reason why they was able to get in 60 frames without an issue, the entrances, since it was computer generated instead of actual mocap. That's just my theory though. And those titles are still as big as ever. They're essentially still now, again, the titles, they will not modify the titles, I believe, not until the next game. Because these titles are essentially holdovers from Here Comes the Pain, except for the new ones like the spinner belt. I think that's it, because every other title is essentially the same. From Here Comes the Pain has not changed. Only the spinner belt is a brand new one. But the titles there are used are essentially just the holdovers from Here Comes the Pain. So they were still elements to this day that they were still using, but now the gameplay is completely different. So, okay, see the clean and dirty move. To reform the story finisher, a clean superstar icon, fill out the momentum meter, and then so you have to essentially have two. That's why I said you essentially technically have to have two to do it. So and you see now there's a new mini game here, and unfortunately Eddie won that one. Why is Eddie already going out? Well, two can play at that game. Now I can taunt while I'm outside. See how the bar filled up a lot more. Like I said, this big behind arena is something. Now I got much more because Eddie was in the ring. And you also notice, well, you wouldn't notice because the soundtrack's off. I had to cut it off, unfortunately. There are also specific taunts for Eddie. Mostly all of the people that you would think have a taunt, I mean, not a taunt, a crowd reaction would have it in this game. I forgot. How do I switch? There we go. The ref. Come here. See me attacking the ref, I still get that boost. And yeah, you can't really run again. The spamming has stopped. You can't just run anymore. It's gonna hurt you if you run. I'm gonna try to do the finisher. You notice how another thing, the camera constantly moves. Before, the camera was pretty static unless you like leave outside. The camera pretty much just stayed in position. But now the camera is constantly moving, no matter where you're going. Instead of staying at a specific spot. That's the one thing I did notice when I was a kid. Oh, come on, my hand. So let me get this straight. When Snitsky had his head supposedly near the no, his leg supposedly near the ropes, that counted, but my hand was clearly under the ropes, but that did not count. Whatever. Oh, you can't stop for a minute. These people are relentless, and this is just normal difficulty. Another thing I was gonna point out, if you notice, you can essentially hit your finisher anytime. They don't have to be in a specific state. I thought it started in '07, but it looked like it started here, where you could essentially just hit your finisher at any time. You don't need to like kick him in the gut, or he doesn't have to be in a groggy. I think if he's already basically you don't have to, he's not required to be in a groggy state anymore or kick him in the gut. If you have the finisher and you're in the position, you can just hit it. That's where this essentially started.
One, two, one, two, three.
They really hate Eddie. I mean, he was the biggest heel on SmackDown during this time. Unfortunately, he passed away, which is very bad timing when this game came out, by the way, because there's a certain part in this season mode that's infamous now because of that. Well, if I have time to talk about season mode, I will, if we get to it.
One,
Come on, Eddie. Screw it. Oh, you see? I didn't even realize that when you hit the referee enough, you will get DQ'd. Huh. Well, that's okay. We don't have to finish the match. There's one new match type that I'd like to show you guys. That's only in this game. I don't believe bra and panties is in this game anymore. I think they took that out and they replaced it with something else. But there is one more. Keep in mind, this is the first and only, at least the bra and panties, it lasted 2 games. I do not believe bra and panties are in this game. It is not. But there's actually, scratch that, there's actually 2 new match types. Backstage Brawl, they're just different areas now. And I would like to apologize. I made a mistake in yesterday's stream. I said there was only one area where you could fight backstage, was the parking lot brawl. I was actually incorrect. There is one more spot, which is essentially like a generic interview area that you can play in backstage. But the problem was, it wasn't an option in the menu. Basically, what you would have to do, you had to hit hardcore and then select it in one of the arenas. That's why I forgot it was in there. I thought it was going to be in the listings, but it wasn't. So that was just one slight correction from yesterday's SmackDown versus Raw stream. But yes, there's the backstage brawls, which I guess we could look at, but we're going to look at Fulfill Your Fantasy first. I believe, so if my memory serves me correctly, if this match happened in real life, I believe it happened at WrestleMania. We'll just use Chrissy Hemme right now. She's new here. And then, yes, you have 3 attires: schoolgirl, nurse, French maid. Yes, I know this would be offensive now. It's part of this, is just simply was this era. It's okay. And Lita's back in the game. And Joy Giovanni, who literally only appears once in this game. I sometimes forget she's in this game. Sure, doesn't matter. I forgot how you actually win this match. It's like knockout. I honestly forgot. Was it at SummerSlam? I thought it was. I thought it happened at WrestleMania, or because I actually don't remember when this match took place. Okay, thank you for telling me. To win by disrobing, swinging pillows and spank your opponent, rear end to spank your opponent. It's a bunch of stuff. Yeah, like there's. I guess you have. Yeah, I guess you have to fill up your meter. People would be so offended by this. What pay-per-view did this take? I honestly do. Again, did this happen? I'm assuming this happened during Raw, which is why, again, I unfortunately was poor back then. I didn't have cable, so if this happened on Raw, I genuinely do not know. I don't remember any Raw Rebound telling me about this. I really do not remember. I love how they use the pillows like it's to steal chairs. Oh no, they're actually gonna try to wrestle here. They said if I do something with the R, click that. That's what I'm trying to do. Something with the R button. Let me try. I have to get up here or something. Can he not get up here? It was something down in I guess when I. Oh, they did say pull off the outfit, but why'd I have to go in a grapple first? That's so strange. Love how she's floating in the air. Could you imagine the backlash if they put this in the current games? Oh, that's how. Okay. I missed. I wasn't even paying attention to the bar. That's my fault. I didn't realize there was a bar on the side. So as long as I get the meter filled up, I win. So if I just hit her with this once. Okay. So there's like advantages with playing exhibition where you just get cash. Kind of like how the RXP system is in the current 2K26, where you just get normal stuff. You know, you shouldn't have to. But at the very least, in this game, I'll let Tony Chimmel talk. Is he the only person that had voices in this game? I thought Lynn Garcia is also in this game. I guess it's depending on if you use SmackDown or Raw Superstars. I don't know. I actually forgot about the Buried Alive match, but now it's this whole Eddie Guerrero. I'll explain the Eddie Guerrero situation, how it relates to this game. When we get to it. Buried Alive. If we have time, we'll look at the backstage brawl, but after this, we're going to look at GM mode. Why not pick The Undertaker? This is his match after all. Why not? I forgot how Reich was in this game. It can only be at Survivor Series. Same rules. I mean, essentially, yeah, we got to get over there, but it's no disqualification. The only way to win is over there. So, little story. Obviously, for those who are even unaware of wrestling, Eddie Guerrero fortunately passed away the year this game came out in 2005. I don't remember the precise month. I know it was right before Survivor Series, so that it had to be November. The reason why I mentioned that is because the game also came out in November. In the game season mode, which although if I have time, we will cover it, the season mode, but there's no way I would have time to get to that part in story mode. Essentially, there's a storyline where Eddie Guerrero is controlling Undertaker's urn. And to make a long story short, one of the finishing matches is a Buried Alive match, and Eddie Guerrero gets buried alive. Now, obviously, horrible timing, but there's no way when they made that, based on how story mode is structured, there's no way they could have foresaw, which the only reason why I believe it was probably finished or being made around April-ish after WrestleMania is because of one specific superstar in there, which we'll look at moments. I do have the time for it. There's no way THQ and Use could have had the foresight of Eddie Guerrero's death back then. So it was just one of those things. Like I know it's not. They didn't put it in there because it's offensive. Because the game literally came out the same month. They just couldn't have foresaw that. Luckily, The following game, there is no there's no accidental coincidences again. I'm saying that in a sarcastic voice. Where it's even more worse than the first one. The first time they did in 06, there's no accidental coincidence that happens in SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 that foreshadows something. No, of course not. Although with that one, that happens months later. Unfortunately. So the funny part for them having it as Survivor Series, as you can see that Survivor Series tombstone, the last time they had it buried alive was actually in Survivor Series 2003. Although this Survivor Series is based off the Survivor Series of 2004. So it's just, I find it amusing how they have the Survivor Series logo from 2003, even though this is the 2004 arena. Just a month off. I mean, just a year off. And essentially, they used the same setup for the next two games because there wasn't a buried alive match. Goddamn, the next buried alive match in Raw in this current time period would have been what? I'm trying to remember. Next time there's a buried alive match, I think it's in 2010. So they essentially just used the same setup with the tractor in the back and whatnot. Until they officially take it out of the game after 2008. So I think I could use that. I'm going to try to pick up that shovel. I believe I can use as a weapon. Can I? There we go. Yes, there's still weight to these weapons. And you see, since I'm using a weapon, unfortunately, I lost some momentum there. Fortunately, the invisible wall is there, so I can't completely throw him off. But yeah, that's the whole Eddie Guerrero situation. You ever just look, for the people who have watching this ever stumble upon that, people talk about essentially this game in 07 is like cursed. Not, I mean, it's just because of the situations involving those two. We'll talk about it more in tomorrow's stream with 07. I know. Oh, damn. I know I haven't attempted to throw him in the casket yet. Just trying to make sure I have enough stamina. So here we go. What I was actually trying to do was so yeah, it's essentially a two-part mini game. And he escaped. I was trying to get my finisher so that way I can just see right here. So that way I can just throw him in. As long as I don't lose it. So now you can just actually use a finisher to finish him off. Another challenge. We're gonna get to the challenges. Or I guess it has to, okay. I think it has to be you know, the double whammy. Have momentum filled. I believe I had to drag him. Let me see. Ha! That's what he gets. They never gave me that much time to recover from losing all the stamina. Wrong way. Come on. Good Lord, man. Move with a purpose. Yeah, I think you have to have it filled up. So the first half, got it. Second half. How does he still get it is beyond me. Still not ready to die yet. But that's okay. Yeah, let me fill this up before I have enough time. Well, that'll do it. Hopefully. No, come over here. Can't win for nothing. I'm gonna lose it. What the? He's just falling now. Are you trying to tell me he has to have stamina for him to be thrown into the casket? Or is that what you're really telling me? I'm gonna have to have him have at least a little bit. There we go. Of course he reversed that. Third time's a charm. Get in there. There we go. Rest in peace. I'm really earning all of these challenges, not on purpose.
Here's your winner, The Undertaker.
And this specific cutscene just only for this match, obviously. And now he's buried alive. I mean, it's pretty cool that he did this way, but obviously Undertaker would not act like this. This is still the era where everyone just has a specific animation. They weren't character specific. All right, so essentially one of the most talked about modes once we get past the save screen is GM mode. GM mode is not the GM mode that you see in current games. They were actually a lot more fun in here. If you would believe it, GM mode is actually more fun here in terms of if it depends on the person. So GM mode is really depending on the person. To some, they feel like this might be boring, but if this is essentially, if you are a hardcore wrestling fan, this is your dream come true, controlling the calendar. You start a new one, you have a choice. I can either draft the roster or have the preset roster. For the sake of this demonstration, we're actually going to do a draft. And we'll pick Raw. So just some of the rules. It's at random. So there's a good chance I might not be first. And it alternates. Raw's had the women's championship so ideally because of that, you will want more divas on your roster. And same thing with SmackDown, you're going to want more cruiserweights. The cruiserweights are in blue and divas are in red. I'm not required to draft all 20 superstars, but they're recommending me 12 to 20 to start. And I'm actually first. We each get 10 million. So obviously we got to have the franchise. So the thing is, everyone's contract is different. So you want to make sure you do this the right way. You can either give everyone 5 weeks or 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. Now you see the years and 9 months, we're in the millions here. You only have 10 million. So what I personally do is you have your top heel and your top face. You give them a year contract, or you give at least your top face the year, and then your top heel 9 or 6 months. You always want to give who you're going to build the show around. So for Cena, we'll give him a year. He took Kurt Angle. So now you want to have a rival, someone who's going to be drawing ratings, because yes, the ratings are a factor here. Triple H, we're going to give him 9 months. And for pretty much everyone else, we're just going to give them 5 weeks until we start building up money, and then we'll start offering contracts. And again, all these stats doesn't look like they matter. They do. The popularity matters a lot. So we're gonna take Batista, and obviously the higher popularity, the more they cost, as well as the overall. Both of these play a factor. So I'm probably gonna take one more high profile heel, and then I'm just gonna purposely take the undercard and build from there. We're gonna give Batista 3 months. Oh, he took the Undertaker, and Batista's most likely gonna be good against Jericho, and we'll give him 3 months. And now pretty much everyone else you see, you can sort it by popularity. We gotta at least build the undercard. So we'll get like, well, actually I need my top women. Actually, Jesus, I need my top women's star. So I need Trish Stratus. We'll give her 3 months. And I need a heel for her. Well, I need someone to counteract her, which will probably be Stacy Keibler. We'll give her 3 months. Now everyone else, you just kind of, because I already have my main event scene. I have my mid card scene with Batista and Jericho, and then tag teams, we'll figure it out. That's where we essentially just start building the lower people. Mark Jindrak, I can make him to a main eventer. Michelle McCool, man, this game is one of the GOATs. Well, first of all, thanks for stopping by. I'm gonna mispronounce your name. Redizler? Yeah, but this is part of a 25-day event. We're going through all of the main WWE games to see how we got to 2K26. So we're currently on SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. The previous games are in a playlist if you so desire to look at it. So cheap plug there. Right now we're talking about GM mode, essentially the main selling point of this game. We're just picking out the roster. This won't be a full, I don't want to we're not doing like a full GM mode in this stream. This is just a brief showcase of it. Just showing how it started off in this mode. Sick, I'll check them. Yeah, when that free, this is gonna be every day. So, I mean, tomorrow we're gonna be going through 07, and then we're gonna keep continuing. I had this event planned for like 2 months. For the past 2 months, I was planning out this event. I could pick the cruiserweights to start screwing them over, but I'm not gonna waste my time. So, actually, I should pick one more woman because we had to diversify. Trish versus Stacy. We're gonna pick Steven Richards, sure. Snitsky, why not? Rob Conway. No, I see the masterpiece. How did no one take the masterpiece yet? It's beyond me. And then we'll have one, even though they said 12, we're gonna pick one more woman, so at least it'll be even for Christy Hemme for 5 weeks. All right. Actually, I'm not gonna stop until he stops. It look like he stopped. No, let's see. I'm not gonna stop until he stops. So now we're gonna get Booker T. We're gonna give him 3 months. Okay, he picked Christian. Now we're going a little bit popular. How is Eugene that much popular? I can't. We need some 5-star matches. So we need Benjamin. We'll give him 3 months. He's probably gonna be the alternate Intercontinental champion if Batista ever gets injured. So yes, I do believe injuries started in this game as well in general manager mode. Did he stop? No, so He's gonna make me burn through my money, Eugene. No, we need heat. So we need Muhammad Hassan. Are you cooking up a video? Last few was bangers. I didn't see the lies, but no. Are you referring? Are you? So you're familiar with my channel then? Are you referring to the last video on the long form side, the superstar WWE hit in every game? I was gonna. Cause it sounds like you're familiar with my channel. I thought you were new. My apologies. Did he pick someone up? Oh, he's done. Okay, I'm done too. I ain't gonna waste no more of my money. But that's essentially the draft. And now here's you can set up your champions. Now, you can tell when this mode is being developed because of the title. This game does feature the spinner title. You can actually unlock the spinner title. So, the way this game is very weird. Spoilers for season mode for those who didn't play it. You have a choice between the regular title and the spinner when you finally unlock it. I don't know if you unlock one, you can still select the other. I think if you lock one, you're stuck with that. I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully someone can correct me, but I believe whichever one you pick after you win it in season mode or finish SmackDown season mode, you have to decide which one. Wherever one you pick, you're stuck with that one. I'm like 90% sure that's how it was. So we're gonna pick Cena. Tag teams, we'll figure out the tag team dimension. We'll give it to. I've seen some videos, but yes, that one in particular. Also enjoyed it too. Before that, also. Well, I appreciate that. I really tried with that last one. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. As for future content, well, like I said, I had this event. I am working on the Here Comes the Pain documentary. That's a progress. I just put off to the side just to do this event. That's a progress. Not to self-promote, but I actually have a let's just say if I have something that's exclusive for members, a rough cut of it on the member side. I guess I should say it. I was going to put a members only video of the rough cut, which is like the first 3 minutes of the documentary, but it was only going to be for members only. Oh, what's up, no one? So let's just show the work basically the work in progress and proof of concept that Here Comes the Pain documentary. So anyone who becomes a member, they could just watch it anytime they want. His class next video should be the algorithm too. Hopefully, well, it's about, again, the algorithm. When people say algorithm, is the funny thing about the algorithm is just the audience. It's how the audience respond to it. It's like YouTube didn't magically. Here I'm talking Triple H. Oh no. Actually, why not? Should I? No. Actually, it might be smart to give it to Triple H. Even though I'm not going to spend this much time on it. We're going to give it to Trish. The build up the Intercontinental title tag team. I don't know. We'll get to some heels. Mark Jindrak, and we'll have them figure it out. It's like it was the audience. The audience told me it was a good video. YouTube didn't magically give me more impressions just because they liked me that day. They gave it to me because of the response. I'm not trying to sound don't think that I kind of knew in the back of my head that video was going to do well. I thought at minimum 100K. I never expected what it's currently at right now, to be honest with you. It's not that I had zero expectations, but I knew at least that I was going to be a 100K video because it felt like sometimes when you make a video, you just know, okay, this is the one. So that was, I knew it was going to at minimum hit 100K. Hopefully within a month. It did in 3 days. So in a bad way, my bad. Just know how much work goes into some videos. It's nice seeing good. No, that was a 3-month project. No, I didn't take any offense to it at all. That was a video 3 months in the making. I really didn't tell a lot of people that. It took me 3 months to make, because after the Here Comes the Pain video that came out in June, I just sat there, researched, and just put the work in. And I just appreciate you stopping by. I know this is about 2006, just talking about it. So that tells me, yeah, you was actually watching before you came to stream. So I really do appreciate that. You don't get a lot of people you could just talk to, interact like this, to talk about just the work on the video. So I do appreciate that. So just quickly go over. We're just gonna simulate a month. Just show off the calendar. You show Raw and SmackDown, and depending on which your brand is, for you get a certain pay-per-view. So obviously Raw has Backlash, Judgment Day goes to SmackDown. You get the idea. So SmackDown has a longer build to their pay-per-view. I only have 4 weeks to build. The email, so JR, these are essentially your tips or tutorials if you don't know what the hell you're doing, or if you're getting your ass handed to you in the rivalry. So just again, show off your roster. You see the popularity. Everyone's kind of either they're gonna go up or down or fatigue, which means they might get injured. Your rivalry. So essentially, it's not. So this rivalry system is like meh. It really made more sense in the next game. They made it way more better and way more understanding. Essentially, you can do whatever you want. The rivalries mean more in 07. You can actually trade. So if I feel like one of my people suck, I can ask SmackDown, hey, can I borrow Christian? And you can take Mark Jindrak. Let's see what he says. He's going to tell me to F off. I know it. Teddy Long told me to F off. So there's that. And then free agents. So obviously, there's a lot of people who didn't get signed. If you have the money for it, you can do it. So it's like a full-fledged. Yeah, the rivalry disbanded if you don't. Yeah, like I said, the rivalries don't make a lot of sense. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The rivalries don't make a lot of sense in this game. It was, again, this was the first time it had it. We didn't really know what it would become in later installments. So I'm not going to fault them. I would never fault people doing their first attempt on something. It's the next one, if you don't improve upon on it, is where I start to get an issue after people gave you feedback. And just quick thing, fan support. Again, everyone, we supposed to start at 5 million. The 4 pay-per-views and then JR reports essentially just tells you stuff. So just to quickly showcase what I mean, we're just going to preset a card. As you can see, we only have, so you have promos too, just showcase the promo. So either it will cost money or give you money. Ideally, you always want to do the promo stuff right before the show. And right before the big pay-per-view and pay-per-view hype. Just to hype it up so you get that extra star rating. And you can slander the other person. But this is the part where you would probably start a rivalry. To build that up. Because, again, essentially the way to win GM mode, get money, more ratings, which I'm going to show you the reports, is to have good rivalries. So we're actually going to do that right here. Chris Jericho and Batista, why not? So for example, Triple H and John Cena, why not start off with a bang, put it for the WWE title? Big Show and Chris Jericho, they're a part of that match, so that's fine. And then women's title. We're just starting off hot, and let's see what happens. We're not going to play any matches. We're just going to simulate it all because I want to show you. Yeah, they hit it out the park in the first. Yeah, like for its first start, and of course SmackDown, because of course they won. We're gonna see why they won. So there was a trade rumor, and he declined. So it's like a mini. So yes, this is how kind of to an extent how the actual WWE website looked. So SmackDown, their main event was ever in Triple H. So why? I got a bad rating because Triple H won. No one likes Triple H. You would have thought. The Reign of Terror. Trish Stratus is still the women's champion. A sleeper match, like just brief news on stuff. Is that again pretty in depth. And then the reports, right? So you can see SmackDown results. They got 3 stars. Their best match was the main event. So we both had a hardcore match. So despite the fact that I had a title, so actually my match is better than his. So what the? I can't. So who screwed me? Oh, so their opener was still stronger. So who screwed me? I guess no one didn't like Snitsky versus Steven Richards. But again, I knew I'm going to take a hit because I purposely picked less popular people. Like I said, your popularity matters. I purposely picked them to save money. I'm going to make them lose more money first. So it is what it is. And then just to quickly show you the financials. Yes, you have a whole sheet. Your television. Like this is the cool stuff that I know to a new and casual person would not care. But to people who literally are hardcore fans, this is what we live for. We want to see the television revenue. We want to see the gate, the gate and whatnot. I know it doesn't show there and whatnot. This is what we want to see. Merchant, I'm gonna let those go out, and then advertising promo, the championships on the line again, and by presetting, I'll quickly show you. if everything is correct, my rivalry. So I have 5 rivalries going on at the moment. Again, the rivalries don't really matter that much because there wasn't any structure to them until '07 when they made a tad bit more sense in the star rating. So I'm not saying they don't matter, but in the grand scheme of things, they really don't matter that much. And SmackDown won again. It's just simply because they just have better stars. So I'm gonna lose in the beginning just so I know I'm going to win in the end. But we're not gonna simulate the whole. We're not gonna simulate all of GM mode. I just want to take you to the Backlash show. When I used to play GM mode, I always had advertising every show. So even if my ratings sucked, I had enough fun to sign legends as YouTube started. Well, that's the game. It really depends on how you play it. So I'm going to take your advice. Well, at least they already know what to do. We're not going to waste time. And then you're essentially going to hype the pay-per-view. But again, Raw's problem. Here's the Raw's problem. There are big shows start. I only have 4 weeks to essentially. I only have. Well, I don't know why I exit. What the hell just happened? Continue. Okay. There we go. I only have 4 weeks to build the show. They have 8. So, see, we're closing the gap now. What they only have, we put on a good show. You know, it was 2 ratings. So what was SmackDown's? 3? No, both shows sucked. So we must have closed. I'm actually very curious. We must have closed the gap on that one. Their show sucked. Of course, our main event was better than our. Who would have thought? Yeah, Triple H. Yeah, who would have thought? And then just one more show. This is where you would ideally hype up the pay-per-view so you get the best. Out of it. I'm not gonna switch the title. People don't watch Snitsky. I know. Disappointing. But that's how I normally strategize. I'm always gonna if I'm Raw, I'm always gonna lose in the first few months and then just have a bounce back. Because the goal is to make them lose money. Wait, what happened with Steve Richards? Oh, his contract's gonna expire. Well, let me see your performance. Steven Richards. Let's see. Are you worth the money to sign for another 5 weeks? Let's see. You had a half a star here. Half a star here. You are in the main event. I tried to give you a main event push. 1.5 stars. And you were in a 1 star here. So I'm actually going, we're gonna I can't propose trade, son of a bitch. Check his popularity. I was gonna trade him all. I was like, just take him. I mean, considering he's only at 26, he's on a decline. I mean, I'm just gonna cut my losses. Actually, I'm already gonna have his replacement ready. Let's see. We're gonna have his replacement ready with Orlando Jordan. We're gonna sign him for 5 weeks and see what happens. I already have his replacement ready. I'm not re-signing Steven Richards. So now we go to Backlash, and now hopefully everything pays off. What happened to this? What are we doing here? Batista Intercontinental Champion, right? What are we doing? You see, this card doesn't make any sense. Oh wait, Triple H won the Intercontinental. Triple H, that hogging asshole. I was like, where? Oh my god, and that should just be the main event. He took both titles. There's no way he's both champ. I refuse to believe that. No shot. How did he do that? He took both titles. John Cena. So let me get this straight. John Cena was the WWE. Oh no, actually, I know what I did. I thought I gave Batista Chris Jericho title, but he took John Cena's title. God damn it, Triple H. Why you do this? Huh. The game always goes over your head. No, you're absolutely right. God damn it. Well, hopefully you pop that ring, Triple H. You better gave me something. Raw, yes. By how much? Fine, that's what I'm talking about. You see? It paid off. The reign of the team eventually paid off in the end. Look at that. Look at that. And Steve Richards' best wishes in his future endeavors. Just to see that rating real quick. I murdered them. 4 stars. Not exactly 5 stars, but we're getting there. Yeah. Oh, and Steven Richards actually, you don't run the show, the game does, bro. He pulled through in the end. I gotta give him that. We got almost 1 million. Did that bounce us back actually? Let's see. Actually, look at that. Look at that. One paper. We put them in the ground. We put them in the dirt. Triple H plays TMP. I know. That's why I don't understand why people disrespect Triple H. He's like the most over person. He has 2 titles, but now he's about to get injured. Let me see his fatigue. Oh my god. But this is what I mean. The fun of general manager mode. Just stuff like this is what we. I gotta switch screens. Actually, he's not even injured at all. That's what I'm talking about. See the work. Talk about John Cena. Talk about he with a car where only Triple H works. That won't work well for me. He's our double champion. That would be funny, but we might do that another day. Won't be here though. That is hilarious. So John Cena is getting hurt, but Batista. I mean Triple H profits. So him and Batista gonna have to go at it now. That's the main rivalry right there. But yeah, this is the fun. Like this the first time I had GM mode. It was fun. This is what we live for. Stuff like that. I'm gonna hold on. I gotta see my financials before. I'm so hyped. Do it. But fine, I'll book one week. Let's see if Triple H can hold it, and then we'll call it quits. Let's see. Yeah, the show cost. Let's see if he can handle this. So let's just see. First, is he in the main event? All right. Actually, we're gonna give Booker T a chance here to redeem himself. So you see how it turned yellow? So it's gonna affect him. Am I not allowed to? For some reason, it's not letting me. That's interesting. Is he not allowed to? Oh, I had to hit back. I was about to say, I was like, am I not allowed to book Triple H? He's gonna have a shot at the Intercontinental title. We need some money. We'll keep the women's match. Muhammad Hassan versus Triple H. I'm gonna injure my world champion. And Chris Masters. We're gonna try to let's see if Triple H get these people over. I wonder if an all Triple H book show, how is that rating? Are they gonna go through the toilet, or if we actually going, I'm gonna die laughing. He's my most over star. Let's see. So Chris Masters beat Triple H. Muhammad Hassan beat Triple H. Booker T beat Triple H, but Triple H had to go over in the main event. You cannot make this up. He was going to put everyone else over. Did we pull? No, of course SmackDown. Well, let's see. Damn. Okay, that was a bad idea. Well, to be fair, Triple H was pulling a lot of weight. The game always. I know that's. I mean, honest to God, he actually pulled through. I mean, you got to give it to him. So what drew me down was the women's match. No offense. Essentially, Triple H for the most part held 3-star. Like he actually held it down. Hopefully, he's not injured. Yeah, we're gonna have to get off. Damn, I lost half my roster. I forgot to sign some contracts. Lost half my roster. Oh damn. Okay, he's fatigued. Not half bad. Honest to God, for him, like, did we plummet? How was the fan support? We're still holding it. But you see how we're still holding it. So yeah, just wanted to showcase GM mode real quick. It's fun. I probably should have saved it. Save. We're gonna save this progress. Never know if I'm gonna get back to this, but that was actually funny. Good times, good times. Now I'm gonna show you the locker room, but before we show you the locker room, I gotta show you season mode. So this is where we're gonna talk about season mode. Before we go into season mode, though, I gotta explain it because it's so the nuances of season mode. Actually, I can just show you the locker room real quick, but I'm gonna show you a little bit of season mode. That was he actually hit the fact that he held the ratings. He put you can't say he don't put people over. So the locker room now you can actually move around. I believe you can actually move around in 07. Don't quote me on that. This is only directionals, but I think you can actually move around in 07, like walk around it. It's only in first person, obviously. So there's your desk. It is how you unlock superstars: Andre, Brett, Mankind, British Bulldogs actually in this game. Jimmy Hart, Jake the Snake. Now, you see something about the PSP. We're going to talk about that. Oh, yeah. So it was, '07. Yeah, you actually move around. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, Junkyard Dog, which I believe is like the last game he's in any WWE game. It was only just this game, I believe. Hollywood Hogan, Hogan 80. There's actually supposed to be one more Hogan, but we'll talk about that in the cut content. Alternate tires of John Cena and Carlito, and the belts to Hardcore Championship and $1 Million Championship. The challenge mode. Now, this is what I didn't forget. I just knew I was going to talk about in yesterday's stream. Essentially, think of the best way to explain challenger mode. Think of unfortunately I had to use this as an example. The only way it makes sense. Think of like the live events in my faction. Now, I don't recommend you going to live faction, but it doesn't require you to grind or pay money. Essentially, you just use basic challenges. You saw I was clearing them in the just playing exhibition earlier, and you get cash. Now, see, the more you clear, the more cash you get. And that's why I said you didn't have to actually go through story mode to get cash. You could actually just do all of this and get all of this out the way and then go through story mode and get the rest of the cash. Over here again for alternate tires. I believe it's the alternate tire, but it's only for John Cena and Carlito, I believe. Oh, for season mode, yep. Training corner, just again to raise the attributes of the superstar. I'm not in season mode yet. Your championship wall of fame, first the trophy case. This is where essentially these were achievements before achievements existed. Or trophies. I know trophies were PlayStation, but essentially achievements. This is were just your achievements. So again, reason to play through the stuff. Again, the Raw season mode trophy, SmackDown, Undertaker's Urn. Is Undertaker's Urn specifically because of that story mode? Are you serious? Let me see. It's specifically because of that story mode. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. I know the developers did not have the foresight for what happened with Eddie Guerrero, but the $1 Million Championship, Hardcore Championship, the WWE title, and the World Heavyweight title, but you have to go through season mode to get it. I kept talking about season mode, so let's talk about. We're gonna show only the SmackDown side, the first part of it. So here's what happened. First, blah blah blah. Or he's gonna do normal. So there's only specific. So the main criticism of season mode in the previous game was they were essentially just roster swaps. If you were on Raw, they're essentially the same storylines as SmackDown. They just switch roles. So Tajiri was Raw, Rene Dupree was SmackDown for the same storyline. Tori Wilson, you get the idea. They decided to, again, Ukes listened to feedback. They said, all right, screw it. We're going to make completely different stories for both brands. They do intertwine at some points, but they are two completely different stories. Raw, I don't remember off the top of my head. It's something to do with Triple H and basically his reign of, for all intents and purposes, his reign of terror as World Heavyweight Champion, which is funny now I think about it. SmackDown was a very unique story. I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm gonna show it eventually. But the point is, so the problem, it's not a problem. What they basically did, they forced you to play the season mode 4 times, 2 times each per brand to essentially see all 4 endings of this. The best example I can give, and this is gonna be very niche. Has anyone ever played Shadow the Hedgehog before? If anyone ever played Shadow the Hedgehog, you understand what I'm talking about. It's basically an imaginary branch. Shadow Hedgehog had 10 alternate endings, but none of them mattered because there was one universal ending. It's essentially that, but with specific wrestlers, and depending on who you pick, you start at a certain point in the story. Case in point, I told you about the infamous Undertaker storyline with Eddie Guerrero in this game. If you pick anyone but the Undertaker, you get that storyline. If you go a certain route. If you do pick Undertaker, you can't get that story because you're playing as the Undertaker. So, for example, John Cena. I want to bring up John Cena. John Cena is a major part in the SmackDown story. 2 things though. He's a Raw superstar. So even if you pick John Cena, you're never going to actually see the SmackDown story mode if you play as John Cena, because they put him as a Raw superstar. So that's one problem. And also it kind of shows you when they wrapped up the season mode of this game, and John Cena became Raw Superstar around like May, and Batista still in the show, which tells me the season mode was pretty wrapped up around May-ish. Because Batista should have been drafted to SmackDown by now, based when the game came out. So just wanted to point it out. So you can pretty much tell the development of this game, at least in terms of the season mode, ended around May or the earliest June. But because you're playing as John Cena, you'll never see the story mode from his perspective because you're playing as him, and you essentially get the idea. So how they structured it, you can only to see all 4 endings, you have to play it 4 different times, because there's 2 alternate endings for SmackDown, there's 2 alternate endings for Raw, and depending on who you pick, you're gonna get either or. And there's only a set amount of people you can pick. If you pick any of the legends, you actually get to choose which brand you're on. There's only Hogan, who's already unlocked, which is actually interesting, Mankind, and Stone Cold. But for the sake of this, I'm going to pick The Undertaker, and we're going to see the SmackDown side. Yesterday, I showed you the Raw side with Randy Orton. It would have mattered if you picked SmackDown, got the same thing, but this is a specific SmackDown story, and let's see what they cooked up. Hi, I am Butler. Hopefully I said your name right. Thanks for stopping by. I don't know if you got all that gist, but we're going over 2006 in the season mode.
Hey, Tori Wilson. Hey there, baby girl. Have you got a couple of minutes for your general manager? There's an urgent matter I need to speak to you about.
Actually, Teddy, I'm supposed to catch a flight and I'm already running late. I'd love to stay and talk, but...
That's okay. Don't worry about it, Tori. I don't want to be responsible for my #1 diva.
So right off the bat, you could tell they upped the voice. I guess they realized not to read off the script anymore. This sounds way more authentic. Yeah, I give them that credit. So the direction they gave them, it was actually good. There, yeah, you were saying this yesterday. Yes, Teddy Long gets hit by a car, a hit and run.
Teddy? Oh my God, Teddy! Don't worry, Teddy. It's going to be okay. Help! Somebody please help!
So we're only going to play the first week, but essentially this is the year-long storyline. Very safe workplace. I know it was NXT before NXT. This is essentially the year-long storyline for SmackDown. You can only get this if you're a SmackDown superstar. If you're a Raw superstar, you're gonna, for all intents and purposes, get the reign of terror that is Triple H over there. Which is funny, because if you pick Triple H, you don't get none of that. Funny how that works out. So unfortunately, I already know what's about to happen because I test this. I'm gonna have to swap. I'm gonna have to mute. I put on the captain for a reason. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to mute the audio because for some reason, season mode, they did not separate the music with the entrances in season mode. You can do it in regular Expedition, but they did not separate it. So when the entrance come, I have to mute it.
I can't believe that someone could do that to poor Theodore Long.
Yo, don't worry about that, Tori. He'll be all right, and they'll catch whoever did it.
Hey, Tori. Cena. Excuse me, Tori. I heard that you were the last person to see Teddy Long before his accident. Do you mind if I ask you about it?
I love the idea that Undertaker recorded this. It's just so hilarious to me that they made Undertaker record this.
She had nothing to do with.
No one's accusing anyone of anything, Cena. But as long as you're here, where were you when Teddy Long was taken out?
Excuse me?
I know it's very funny, especially in this. Honestly, if he was the American Badass, this wouldn't be an issue. But just the idea of him doing this in Dead Man. I mean, it's not like Undertaker wasn't talking here, but it's just hilarious. He's in depth in this whodunit storyline, and he is a detective.
With brass knuckles and a steel chain around his neck could ever take anyone out, right?
Yo, look who it is. Mr. Pay-Per-View. You know, for a guy who calls himself the whole damn show, you sure ain't had much.
So as I said, had I picked Cena or RVD, we would not be getting the storyline right now.
Our GM, don't it? So where were you when T-Lo got aced?
Well, let's see. I think I was probably chilling out in the back, stretching out, you know, throwing some kicks and reading some comics. You think you were?
Can anybody vouch for you?
That's my downtime. Just me. RVD.
I can't believe any of you would ever do anything to hurt Teddy.
Sure about that?
All so awful. What do you think happened?
So, not spoiler. I can't even speak. Depending on, so this decision actually matters because, without spoiling, if you actually want to play yourself, whatever decision you pick is going to determine who you fight in the final match at WrestleMania. I'm not saying there's any of these. I'm just saying this actually matters. It's actually, and I gotta give credit to them. This first decision literally impacts the ending of the game. Even though how you get to that point is for the most part the same, just this decision actually impacts it. But we're hours away from that. So for the sake of this, we're just going to pick Cena. I always do second option. That's fair. So now I'm fighting RVD. But like just so you know, that decision actually matters. I don't know how it works on the Raw side, but I know I distinctly remember the SmackDown story. Again, I'm gonna have to briefly mute the audio because for some reason they kept the soundtrack. I mean their music, even though I muted it in the regular exhibition. Just don't know why. We're just gonna play this match. You just see how the story develops from here, and then we're gonna take a quick detour into other stuff. I did not actually. Okay, obviously I feel like that's it. That's the identity of this game, is the whole stamina system. I know it's like, so as I was saying this earlier, but I don't think you were here. I actually hated the Day of Reckoning 2 stamina system because I just didn't understand it at the time. I actually had no problem with the 06 one, but Day of Reckoning 2, I hated it. Even though they're virtually the same, but I think I hated it more because of season mode in that game. Especially because there was one match I just could not get over because of that very reason. So I think that was personally the reason why I hated the stamina system. I'm curious, what is your favorite memory of this game, no one? Not just in season mode, just in general. What is your favorite memory about this game? Figured I would ask you that. And there's also a special sleeper hold submission mini game that's only in this game, and they never brought it back since. There's just, again, this was the era of wrestling games that even, like, every game has something unique to it. Nowadays, there is no difference between these goddamn games. It makes you wonder why you keep buying them. Playing this game on PSP. God damn it, you spoiled what my next part was, but it's all cool. It was going to come up eventually. I purposely did not even mention that, but you spoiled it. It's all good. I'm actually shocked, though, that the PSP are able to put the full-fledged game on here for the most part. They obviously had to cut corners, but they gave you the experience just like on the PS2. So funny, I actually had 08 on DS. I know in retrospect that game kind of sucked because you had to use the touch control, but I really enjoyed it. I knew I was like, oh yeah, I'm playing 08 on anywhere I go. As a kid, you just, anything wrestling, you just consume it. But now, you playing it now, yeah, it kind of sucks, I'm not going to lie. 09, thankfully 09 and 10, they essentially did away with it. I think the issue, again, it was just, I know everything had to be touchscreen on the DS. That was holding 08 back on the DS, but at least 09 and 10, they kind of course corrected there. As you played on PS2 or PS3, 08. So, my journey with these games, I essentially did not transition into a next-gen system of this game until 010. I played 08 and 09 on the PS2 because they were, I mean, for the most part, they were the same. I know 09 had the highlight reel specifically just for the Xbox 360 PS3. What made me what forced me to get it on the Xbox 360 was the create a story in 2010. I was like, okay, I have to upgrade now. But essentially, I mean, I didn't care about the highlight reel back then, but what forced me to get it was the create a story. I was like, all right, I finally had transition. Once I transitioned, the Xbox 360 was like a whole new world. With that said, just to let you know, though, I'm actually going to be presenting, as I said, 06, well, 06 is the last game just on PS2. So moving forward, every game that we're going to showcase here, at least for the remainder of the SmackDown Raw series, is all going to be on the Xbox 360. Wait, isn't create a story on last gen too? Yeah, but you only had it was cut in half. The amount of stories you could have was cut in half. That's why I transitioned to the Xbox 360 version. I know it was on there. Just I needed Christian to have his ECW run without any problems and create a story. So that's why I was like, nah, I got to put it on. I got to put it on 360. I had to put it on Xbox 360, but they cut the amount in half, so I couldn't have that. And yes, I actually forgot old school was one of these regular signature moves. Oh, come on. I really thought I had that last ride. For that, did you download the stories or did you create them? I created mines. Even though I know that was the I think that was the other reason why, because the whole creation suite thing could download others people. What? That's why they need to bring back create a story. I actually did not even think of that. But no, that I didn't do it. I did it for 11. For 2011, I did that. Download other people's stories. I didn't care that much. I was just too busy creating my story with Christian. That was so much fun. Again, these games were just fun. They weren't a chore to play. Like, I feel like I'm working when I'm playing the current games, literally. Am I in heaven? No, this is a 25-day event of how we got to 2K26. I'm not streaming every day for a foreseeable future. Specifically for this event, though. I was planning it for 2 months. But thanks for stopping by, man. All right. I'm about to steal RVD's finisher. At least I thought I was. But then I realized I got to do the 5-star frog splash, and we're not doing that. That's a cheap move. What, the kick in the gut or the 5-star frog splash? Or stealing the person's finisher?
1, 2, 3.
There we go. The Undertaker won. Cool stuff. Good. You gain the whole meter by 1 die. Again, they still kept the clean and dirty system from the previous game. Which, that's why, again, I liked it. It forced you to play as a good guy or a bad guy. You can't just, the days of spamming. I mean, even though I had no Here Comes Pain, I hate when I went over my dad's house and there was people over who played the game. They just spammed moves. You can't do that anymore because now it actually affects you. So we're going to, I mean, we'll eventually, if we have time, I might just show you the next scene of that, but I just want to show some awesome other stuff that I had planned. And one of it was a creative entrance because, yes, for the first time, again, I find it fascinating that I took this game. We have a full-fledged entrance. I said earlier, the Xbox and the GameCube games, you could have, well, starting with WrestleMania 19 on GameCube, but all the way back in 2002 when for Raw, I forgot the name for a second, even because they took the name. You were able to have an interest from beginning to end. It's just so crazy how it took this long for them to do it. So just for the sake of this, we're just going to use Batista. And yes, easy and advanced creations. We're already at the start. So, I mean, it seems like it's basic, but you could do a lot of stuff. Again, fireworks. So we're just going to do it right at the beginning. I'm just going to pull off some random stuff so you guys can just see it. And they see different parts, even though it's a full interest from beginning to end. They're different stages, so they're gonna act different. Motion, we'll give them Carlito. Screen effect is gonna be green. I'm just gonna randomly show off some stuff. We'll do some blinkers, fireworks, Booker T out of nowhere, and finalize, get in the movie. So we Batista, music where it doesn't matter, so full preview. Just to show it off. This was cool. I spent days in this for my Creative Superstar. Some cool stuff. They can see he's already doing something different. Fireworks are going off. It wasn't, I mean, in later games you can actually time it perfectly when you want the fireworks to go off and whatnot. But again, this is the first time they're doing it, but at least they implemented it well. But wrestlers I've downloaded from Creative Suite to have advanced. They have advanced entrances. Well, they should, because they brought, so they took it out in 2K22 and they brought it back in 2K23. So I would imagine, I would hope so that they do. I see now they like basically again you could just change anyone's entrances. It was cool, but it was just, it came kind of late. Again, people could do this if you had the other systems. You could literally do this as early as 2002 in the other system. But I know PS2 they were focused on just having the best gameplay possible, and I gotta give them credit there. So I just wanted to quickly show that off. Obviously, did I hit save changes? I hope I didn't. I just screwed over Batista. He's gonna look very weird. I'm gonna have to, if I ever touch this game again, I'm going to have to fix all of that. So we're gonna take a quick detour. Like I said, if we have a little bit more time, I might show you the next cutscene of the season mode if we have a little bit more time. Give me 1 second. Whoa. What is happening? Oh. There we go. Alrighty, so just quick thing with the online mode. We talked about it in the previous game. They obviously gave you more match types in this one, as you would hope, because before it was only just singles and bra and panties. This one, I found it interesting. Again, never had online for PS2, but I just found this one interesting. I did not know this until I researched it. So you can actually defend your championship online, but the thing is, if you actually lost your championship, you actually legitimately lose your championship. So all that money that you made for the title, if you lose in a match, the person's going to take it away from you. It actually goes off of if you I don't know how that worked, and that's just so crazy to me. Imagine, yeah, I'm dead serious. You can actually, from what I read, you can I'm going to show you the part here. Yeah, don't get too attached, you could lose them. You can defend your creative belts against their opponents and sends 10 belts and whatnot. If they lose, either the server automatically rips the title belt from your memory card the moment the challenge is accepted. That's so cool. Like I said, like that is like me. At least that gave you competition. Again, I never played online on the PS2, mainly because I didn't have the Ethernet cable to go near the modem that in my house. So, but that's just so cool. Like you've all that effort. Thank God you didn't spend actual real money on it. It was just in-game currency. And yeah, that's the cool stuff. Like, imagine you could do that in the current games. You can't, but just imagine if you could. There's that. Now, quick, I know you already foreshadowed this, but I did mention earlier this was the final SmackDown vs. Raw game on a Sony system. I use that wording specifically because, yes, it's been on PS2, but for the first time, you would have cried as a kid if it happened to me. I'll be devastated if I spent all that, because those titles at minimum was like, what, $10,000 to $100,000. You would add some jewels to it. It's crazy. The amount of grind you had to do in season mode as you do all the challenges. This was the next game on PS2, but also the first game on the PSP. Yes, this is time the PSP came out at this point, and you can essentially, and to my surprise, outside of very minimal stuff, the full experience of SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 is on the PSP. Obviously, the graphics are a tad bit dumbed down, and I'm about to showcase it to you in a second, but the full experience on there. As a matter of fact, there's also 3 exclusive mini games on here, as well as an exclusive superstar, Jake the Snake Roberts. So they purposely to incentivize you. Essentially, they wanted you to buy both versions of the game. You have to get Jake the Snake on your main console. You have to do the whole PSP transfer thing. I never had a PSP. I had a DS. I was a DS person. It's so crazy. I had a PS2, but I actually had a DS. I wish I had a PSP. I would have loved to play Tag Force. I was a Yu-Gi-Oh fan back then, but I was stuck with the World Championship series. I had no problem with World Championship, but I would prefer to play the Tag Force games. That's a whole nother topic. But yeah, you get the full experience of the PSP game, which we're about to look at momentarily. Right here. I had this video load up. So shout out to Game PlayStation. I had to mute the audio because reasons, but yes, we're gonna see how the PSP version looked. Unfortunately, I have to skip the intro. Again, this is essentially how it would open up. Yes, Eugene. Unfortunately, I don't think this video shows it, but I'll just point out. Oh, that was way too fast. We try to freeze frame that. He's gonna come back to it. Yeah, he has to make a save profile. So yeah, the menu for the most part is exactly the same except for 2 things: arcade mode and wireless. Because the wireless thing is because you can't play this game online on your PSP. The wireless part is this is how you connect to do the PS2 stuff. Literally just to transfer Jake the Snake Roberts. They have a whole dedicated button just for Jake the Snake Roberts. It is what it is. But essentially, so these are the 3 exclusive mini games. Texam Hold'em is just, I think it's like, there's just like the actual game. Eugene Airplane Race. And the other one was just a trivia. He showed those mini games. Oh, he does. Let me see. But just wanted to show you the quick gameplay. Again, the renders were pretty much the same. The only thing that, and even to the point where yes, they actually moved as well. I was shocked that the PSP was able to handle this. And just to show off the entrance real quick. As you can see, graphically, they had to dial it down, but I mean, it's literally the PS2 experience in the palm of your hand. You got to give them credit there. It's not like the DS was pulling this off. I can tell you that much. Just so crazy. And with Muhammad Sani with the championship too, so he was able to render the championship. It looks better than SmackDown. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, I would hope so. Definitely, for sure. Like they would essentially. If I had, again, I'm not a video game developer. I'm assuming they just dialed down the polygon count for the wrestlers, remove some of the people in the crowd, and voila. Okay, even to the point where you see the whole mini games as well. Essentially, it's literally the same experience. Now, the reason why I had to have this video muted because since there was no commentary in the PSP version, they are blasting the soundtrack right now. We're gonna talk about the soundtrack, but it's just, yeah. Unfortunately, I have to mute it for that reason. You wonder why it's muted. And yeah, I'll just does he show it? I don't think he shows in this video. He just shows again the women fighting as well. Just want to show you again. This is how the PSP version looked. The crowd looks very essentially cut out, but they're still moving at least. There's some sort of visual glitch. There is, I think. Well, we're gonna look at that in the cut content part, which was gonna segue right into that. And even to the point with the same bars, like same thing. So if you ever wanted to play, if you ever wondered how the PSP version looked, this is how it looked. Just graphically down a little, but it was same experience. Now doesn't look like that on the really the PSP or PFP. What does PFP mean? Or I think you meant PSP. But the cut content. Essentially, this game is notorious because 15 superstars. This is not just rumors, or like they were literally in the game at one point and then they got cut for whatever reason. Ironically, the one that was most complete is the one you would probably not at least expect. We're gonna look at this video in a second, but just go over the list. Brock Lesnar. I know he's still talked about, despite the fact that he's been out since the original SmackDown versus Raw. He left the company in 2004. Talks to rejoin was in August 2005. They were so certain that he was going to come back. The most complete of the cut superstars, and he has the animation, the versus screen, and entrance. The latter part is available for custom wrestlers. So you actually have Brock Lesnar's entrance motions. Data for his moveset as well as his name of the character select screen exists in the July 23 build, though he is erroneously referred to as Block Lesnar, which is hilarious. Matt Hardy, talk about bad timing. Because he got suspended because of real life situation between him, Edge, and Lita. They cut him from the game, and he came back though. He came back like not even a month later, but they thought, all right, he's out, so they literally cut him. Bubba Ray and Devon, after they left One Night Stand. So again, goes to show like the cutoff. As I always said, around here, the game was pretty much done by SummerSlam. So the roster was finalized right before that, and that's why Bubba Ray and Devon got cut. Maven, he got released. You see, it pretty much lines up. But there's stuff we're gonna look at this video quickly in a second. Kenzo Suzuki unfortunately never made it to the SmackDown vs. Raw series, but he is in Day Reckoning 2. Luther Reigns, Victoria. I never understood why Victoria was not in this game, because she's not like she's literally in 2007. So it just never made any sense to me. Stephanie makes sense. She wasn't on the show. Mass Kane was just going to be the same version of SmackDown versus Raw, so that's probably why they cut it out. The British Bulldog. Now I wonder why he's on here, despite the fact that I literally showed you he's in the game. It's the version, so they made a completely different model for British Bulldog in 06. This version, they at one point still had him in there. There was a mask game, no. You talk about Kane? No, so there's an alternate attire for Kane in this game, I believe, where it's just this. This was going to be a completely separate character. This was going to be a completely separate character from SmackDown vs. Raw. They decided just to cut him out, could give him the alternate attire for Kane in the game. But for the British Bull, yeah, essentially, they were going to make them two separate models. This was back in the day where they make two separate models for attires like that. But they figured that doesn't make any sense. For the British Bulldog, again, it's the model that was stuck on the PS2 that was still in the retail release, that it was just never in the public game. The Road Warriors got taken out. Roddy Piper was taken out. And Mr. America, for those who don't know, was just Hulk Hogan and mask. Which, and it said the reason, was very strange to me, because you could have had 4 Hulk Hogans in the game. He really didn't want, I guess he didn't like the gimmick, but you could have had literally 4 Hulk Hogans in the game. Who could, like, I think he would have been the most alternate tired person. For some reason, they still had a model from Jeff Hardy, which was the unused slot from SmackDown vs. Raw that was still in the files. And then, you know, the NPC characters are still accessible. But just to quickly show you what I mean with some of the characters, they had call names. 1 second. Hopefully.
Charlottesville, Virginia, weighing 210 pounds, Maven.
From Charlottesville, Virginia, weighing 210 pounds, Maven.
So both Lillian and
from the land of the rising sun,
Tony
weighing
recorded
250 pounds, Kenzo Suzuki.
From the land of the rising,
you get the idea. That to the point, like they took the extra step to recording the line, so they were supposed to be in the game, but they cut them out. And the regional differences, Japanese, again, this never makes any sense to me. How come Japan never had the online multiplayer? Online multiplayer was huge in Japan. I don't know why, especially for the PS2. I can understand the Xbox. That just never made any sense to me. So the version differences, as I said, the PSP, so you can actually see it side by side. These were the mini games I did not show you. The Text 'em Hold'em, which is Undertaker sitting at the poker table, so that's always nice. Eugene Airplane Race, and the game show was just a trivia thing. The menus, as I already showed you, they were virtually the same. The calls, what was it? They had 30. The PlayStation Portable cut it down to 16. for the sculpting of them, so you can see like the side by side. That's why they're a little less detailed. The PSP version, they're actually warning you, if you use a creative wrestler, it's gonna take a minute for the game to load. That's crazy. You couldn't move at all in the locker room. It was just a static menu, and then slight differences in the cutscenes, as you can see. I'm not gonna spoil this specific one, but as you can see in the PS2 version, pictures, different floor. PSP, they took out the pictures and a different floor entirely. But again, you're gonna get the exact same story for the just minor stuff there, and then for the season mode, so you gotta give them credit there. And then the announce tables, they removed it, so unfortunately you couldn't put no one through the table in at least the announcers table in the PSP version. Because of that, the challenge evolving that changed to destroying 2 regular tables in a TLC match. And then other changes, like I said, Kane Mass and Mass Custom is oddly mirrored, and then audio commentaries are moved due to the UMD space issues. But for some reason, they're able to blast that soundtrack, so I don't know how that works, to be honest with you. The roster. So we're gonna look at this roster. Actually, no, this is the controls I meant to show you just quickly. The difference, I was talking about this earlier. I remember there was a mod or game show where you can have the announcers table. Really? For the PSP? Well, I wouldn't know that. I never had the PSP version, so I'm going to take your word for it. Just show you the difference in controls. The playing possum, unfortunately, I never showed you that yet. The clean and dirty. And yes, in the steel, I meant to show you the steel cage. Yes, this was the game where you can actually exit the cage door. So it was the first time you could do that. The ladders, yes, you can have 2 ladders now, because if you'd be surprised, this is the first game you can actually have 2 ladders in the same match. Before, you could not do that in the SmackDown vs. Raw series or the SmackDown series. And the Bear Live match controls, and we already saw Fulfill Your Fantasy. Get the idea. Now the actual roster. We'll just go in order. Andre the Giant, Batista, Big Show, Booker T, Bret Hart, British Bulldog. So finally the Hart Foundation's in the game. Carlito, Charlie Haas. I believe this is the final game Charlie Haas is in. Chavo Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, Chris Masters, who made his debut in this game, but act like a wall. I see. Christian, this will be the final game for Christian until 2010. Christy Hemme, I believe this is our first and last game. The Basham Brothers, same deal, first and last game. Even though they're supposed to be in SmackDown vs. Raw. Eddie Guerrero, next game he is moved immediately as a legend due to his passing. Edge, Eugene, Heidenreich, first and last game. I don't believe Heidenreich was in 07. I'm like 100% sure Heidenreich was not in 07. Neither is Eugene, I believe. 3 versions of Hulk Hogan, JBL, Jake Roberts, Jimmy Hart, John Cena, the only game with Joey Giovanni. I believe also the only game in the main and Eddie is unlocked from start, which is, yeah, as well. I believe it's the only game in Junkyard Dark too in the SmackDown vs. Raw series. Kane, Daivari, Kurt Angle, Lita, Mankind, Mark Jindrak. The first appearance of Michelle McCool, Muhammad Hassan. First and final game of due to real life reasons. Orlando Jordan, Paul London, Randy Orton, Rene Dupree, Rey Mysterio, Ric Flair, Rob Van Dam, Robert Conway, first and last, Sky Tuhati. I believe it's also Sky Tuhati's last game. Shawn Michaels, Shelton Benjamin, Snitsky, Spike Dudley, also his last game. Stacy Keibler, also her last game. Steve Austin, I am like 100% sure she's not in 07. Steven Richards, last game. A lot of people's last games, actually. I do not know how to pronounce his name. I don't even remember who the fuck he is, to be honest with you. Who is this guy? Was he part of the team with Rene Dupree? Tajiri, Ted DiBiase, the Hurricane, The Rock, Tori Wilson, Triple H, Trish Stratus, The Undertaker, William Regal. And that was it. That's all she wrote. Now the soundtrack. Once again, amazing lineup. Billy Ray, Scream at Me, Bumpy Knuckles Tattoo, Bang Bang, You Don't Want War, Dark New Day with Pieces, The Dillinger Escape Plan with Unretrofied, Fireball Ministry with The Broken, one of my favorite songs on there, Megadeth with Symphony of Destruction, Not Forgotten, literally my favorite song in the entire soundtrack was in 13. Oh yeah, it's DLC. You're right. And you know what's funny? I actually had the Attitude Era. I had the DLC for that. You're absolutely right. That's why I was forgetting on top of my. I was like, is he in there? You're absolutely right. He was DLC with Grandmaster Sexay, which I also completely forgot he made his return. Jesus, luckily, you see, thank God I bought the DLC for that. I would be so pissed if I did not have Too Cool in WWE 13. Poet for Crush, Kill, Destroy. Ron J, I Ain't Going Nowhere. Starter War from Static X, and Vada for King of the Mat. Top 3 songs for me personally was Waiting Not Forgotten, The Broken, and Unretrofied. No, actually it's a tie between Pieces and Unretrofied with this for 06. Like I said, 06 soundtrack, it's good, but it's not the levels of 07 and SmackDown vs. Raw, in my personal opinion. 06 unfortunately falls in the category of second place for me. Pieces. I like it's just I like these two more. Yeah, I like these two more. Fireball and The Broken and Unretrofied. I agree. Yeah, it's just like I said, tier ranking for me. If 07, but if 07 did not exist, SmackDown vs. Raw automatically becomes number 1, and then it's 06. Then it's a tie between 08 and 09 soundtrack. Because like the thing with 08 and 09, they have good single songs I like, but 07 and the original, I can listen to all of them without a problem. Like 06, some of these I like, some of them I don't care. That's why I said like Waiting Not Forgotten, banger, good stuff there. Anything else I forgot? Is there anything else I forgot? Oh, one thing I forgot to show you guys, because this is going to be relevant in a second. I completely forgot to show you this. It's silly me. This is going to be relevant in the next game. I meant to show the back covers of these for a very specific reason, because so on the right is the PS2 back cover of SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, and on the left is the PSP version. As you can see, they are, because false advertisement, right? They don't want to get is up there and only the licensed music. Because the issue of 010, they only used the pay-per-view theme songs, which is not a problem. I like the lineup that they had, but it's just like original songs that you wouldn't hear from the pay-per-views that they put in the game. Like that's what I never like. 010 is like it was fine for what it was, but I normally just replay Christian's music anyway, because I was just so happy that Christian was back in the game. That was my guy. But I'm showing you this because they really did not, since these are two different games, they really did not want to false advertise. They want to show you here, you see how Rey Mysterio has the PS2 model, and they're purposely showing the PSP model. Batista, same deal with him, just they don't show it. John Cena, they're just really showing you, okay, these are two different versions of the game, but we're not going to false advertise you. I'm bringing this up because that's going to play a huge part in tomorrow's stream about false advertisement. It's like, no one really talks about it. I just find it amusing. Like, they made sure, like, there wasn't, I wanted to make sure I had my facts straight. It's not like they did what they did on purpose in the next game, but they did try to, for the most part, show you, okay, this is how it's going to look on PS2, and this is how it's going to look on PSP. So you don't get the expectations. I don't think anyone expected the PSP version to look like this. Just saying. That's one thing I forgot to show you guys. I think we have time for just showing the next part of the season mode, but how it would play out. Oh, pay-per-view mode. Forgot. Actually, you know, we're not going to do that. I'm going to show you the backstage area. We have time for that. See, like, this is why I forgot there was an extra backstage area in SmackDown vs. Raw. They didn't have set up like this. Yeah, the parking lot brawl, the backstage brawl, and then the bar brawl. We're going to showcase that one. For this, random. Why not RVD and Triple H? Oh, you talking about the backstage brawl? Yeah, but I forgot it was in there because they put it pay-per-view mode. I forgot there was a backstage brawl, like where the they were basically talking like backstage interview. I forgot it was in there because they put it under the hardcore match, which didn't make any sense to me. They could have just put it under parking lot brawl and then I could select it. That's why I completely forgot. But the pay-per-view mode's the same. I'm just not even gonna bother showing it. We're just gonna showcase this off. I like how the woman just stands there. Like you do not see two people beating the absolute hell out of each other. I just find that amusing. Does she actually do anything if I try to interact over there? I wonder if she actually does anything. Do the basketball. I'll try. As long as she really doesn't tap me out, I'll try. Get over there. The fun parts about these usually a lot, and they were basically interactive environments. Jesus, he really wants to submit me. Triple was never really a submission specialist. This guy really wants to submit me, doesn't he? I know she's just standing there. I'm curious. Maybe they intended for her to do something, but they just probably forgot. Okay, over here. Come on, Triple H. Damn, I should have saw that coming. It's another Monday in here. Whenever you shocked, is what she's thinking. Okay, we'll try this spot first. Nothing? Just nothing. All right. All right, you can't get a run. Come on. Oh, okay. God damn it. Jesus, I have no aim. There we go. Come on. Oh, come on. There we go. Look at this. They don't make them like this anymore. Or the other spots are. Well, it's not that spot. I believe the backstage brawl one with the parking lot, you could literally run them. Ram a car into him. If I remember correctly, I believe there's probably a spot with this. Yep. Or not. I guess not. The bar, I'll try. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, she just stands there. I'll try to throw him in that one. Oh, come on. There's no way Triple H reversed that. You talk about this. Talk about this table. It looks like I could probably interact with that. Can I interact with this one? Nope. The upper corner of the bar. Over here, you mean? Damn. Ha. That's what you get. Oh, come on. I'll try. We're both tired. That's what you get. I knew that was going to happen. You had to have so the only drawback is you can't really throw them in a spot if they're out of stand. At least you have to be right there. Yep, it won't work. I got to give him a minute. Can you heal? For God's sakes, do something. Don't come after me. He just doesn't. Oh, not for God's sake. Okay, he has a little bit, so this should work. He's wasting it. Come on, get up. There we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. The simple stuff like that. Wait, can I even do my 5-star frog splash in here? I don't think I can. It just dawned on me. There's nothing I can, unless I can stand on top of here, I can't. I can't even do my 5-star frog splash. That's sad. You can do these spots more than one time. I believe so. You're right. Are there finish? I think there's a finisher. Is there a finisher for one of them, perhaps? I know there's one for the parking lot. I'll try to borrow one again. I know there's a finisher for the parking lot. I'm 100% certain of that. Oh, come on. I'm gonna try. Cause I just realized I picked RVD's like the worst person picking this because his finisher. Unless he has the alternate one I could use. Come on, Triple H. Can you stop running? That's what you get. It's not looking good. They're gonna sell that Bingo Hall refugee. That's fair. Oh, what? I'm about to submit. I don't think so. Come on, if I could just get up. Hurry up, RVD. Oh, I hear he got his finisher. I can't even do a finisher. Come on. Yeah, but you're right. It is a different animation. Damn. Hopefully that does it, though. Oh, really? You could have put me over, Triple H? God damn it. Nope. Of course he couldn't. I should have saw it coming. Yes. Hurry up. Get up. Nope. Come on. He's too dumb to come over here. Or not.
1, 2, 3.
Of course. This reminded me of Booker T, WrestleMania 19. Where it took him like 20 minutes to get over there. To laugh after hitting the finish if you don't have anything. I can see that. It lasts. That, oh yeah, I forgot. You see, there's certain stuff in this game. You're absolutely right. And the referee does the actual proper 10 count. There's so much fun in this game. Thank you for reminding me that. I actually forgot about that. That's what makes this game so cool. But yeah, you pretty much saw everything that you need to see with SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. Final thoughts. Again, end of an era. The arcade era was over. They officially decided to change course to go more simulation. The control layout for the most part were essentially the same. But that all changes in the next game. Because, dude, like I said, you got to give Ukes credit. Every year they try to innovate. That's one thing you cannot deny with Ukes. I know people say they hate him or whatever, THQ. Every year they try to make the game worth playing. So you could consider the SmackDown versus Raw ideas, innovation. Like every year they try to come up with something new. They were experimenting. Is the best way of putting it. They always try to do something new. And for tomorrow's stream, they took that to an extreme. So the arcade style system with the button layout and whatever, that started in the original 2000 when first SmackDown. Next game, that is completely gone. The next 5 years after the next game, that's where hope you like the analog sticks. That's all I'm going to say. And not only that, it also finally debuts on another system outside of PlayStation. But we'll talk about that tomorrow with SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. For those who are watching live, I appreciate it. Thank you. No one who else was here. TLE and Butler. I appreciate you, as well as Redizzler. Thank you guys for watching, and those who were watching on demand, appreciate it. We'll see you guys tomorrow with SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. Thanks, you man. Appreciate you.